Okay, members of council, I'd like to call the town council work session to order for September 16, 2019. First item on the agenda is update on upcoming revenue sharing projects. Joe?
Yeah, Robert Brown's going to do his presentation.
Hey, Robert.
So the town staff has applied for 3 projects for revenue sharing from VDOT. All 3 projects have made it through the pre-screening process. So the next step is to complete the application, which would involve a resolution from town council to commit to the town share of the funds. For those of you who aren't familiar with revenue sharing, the applications are taken every 2 years. So these applications would be for FY21 and 22. And they are a 50-50 match between state and local funds. And they're intended for projects that are to be started within a year. Not necessarily construction, it could be for engineering, but that have funds available to go ahead and start within a year. So the 3 projects that we put in applications for are the Prospect Street Bridge, replacing the bridge deck on that, and North Royal paving from 14th to Commerce, and then the North Shenandoah Avenue lighting, where we'd be replacing the decorative street lights with overhead lights that are the same as the ones that are on the new bridges. You can see Prospect Street Bridge, it's a wooden deck. The wood is starting to deteriorate, and you can see the metal hold downs there. Some of those have been hit by snow plows and need to be replaced. So rather than replacing it with another wooden deck, the plan is to replace it with a concrete deck. So metal pans would be welded to the existing beams and then concrete poured on top, and then the railings would be replaced with ones that meet VDOT's requirements. So the total cost of that project is $200,000. The North Royal paving, pretty straightforward. Goes from 14th down to Commerce. It's in the paving plan now. It's been in the paving plan. What this would do would bump it ahead a year or 2. Since we're getting ready to hopefully pave 14th very soon, then we would continue that on down to Commerce. Total cost of that is $208,000. And North Shenandoah Avenue lighting, the red circles there are the approximate locations of where the street lights would be based on the spacing that's on the bridges. So it would work out to be somewhere around 18 poles. And again, it's for mainly for security, safety reasons. And rather than having the decorative lights which create glare in the driver's field of view, these would be overhead lights taking that glare out of the driver's eyes, and then helping to cast the light downwards to help protect pedestrians. And the cost of that is $265,000. So we have the town commitment 50% for each one, 100, 104, and 132.5, for a total of $336.5. Like I said before, we need the resolution to complete the application, and the application deadline is October 1st. So if council is agreeable to these 3 projects, then we will have a combined resolution ready for the consent agenda on the next council meeting. Any questions on it?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any questions from council? Mr. Mesa?
Go ahead. Joe, will we be able to fund that out of next year's budget?
Well, that'll be a commitment. If we make this commitment, we're going to have to find money in this coming up budget for this.
Because it'd be a 50%, you're looking at 150,000+.
Actually looking at 336,000
Oh,
for
that-
all
that's-
three projects. That's half of our commitment.
That's what I say. Oh, that's half of our?
That's half of our
Oh, I
commitment,
thought
total
it was half of
prices.
that.
673 is the
Total
total.
price.
Is the lights out on Shenandoah, all the conduits behind the curb and gutter?
Yes, but we'll probably end up having to install some new conduit as well, because obviously the location of the lights will change, so therefore there will have to be some conduit work.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see us pave it and then automatically go back and dig up another trench for electrical conduit.
Right, but we should be behind the curb line, we should not be in the
Just wanna make
street,
sure.
because we do have conduits on both sides of the street.
I know it's back there now, I just wondered.
Like I said, there'll probably be somewhere around 18 light poles, just depending on how the spacing works out, but there's, I think, probably around 25 of the decorative light poles, so we won't be able to, match them up exactly. We'll probably end up having to run new conduit. It is behind the curb.
Mr. Besson?
To follow up a little bit more on what Councilman T-Wall was asking, is this, you have to complete the project or start the project within a year of approval of the application?
Within a year of the funds being available, so the funding could be either FY21 or FY22.
So the 336,000 could be spread over 2 budget years?
Possibly, yeah. The breakdown of the funding will depend on VDOT and the Transportation Board, how they divvy up the funds.
Is
It might be
the,
all
is-
available in the first year, or it could be broken up for all the second year, we just don't know.
They run concurrent with our fiscal years, or is it, they do run concurrent with our fiscal years?
Yeah.
Okay. The Prospect Bridge, is that end of life, or are we just choosing this time to go ahead and replace all the boards and go to concrete?
No, well, the decking is at end of life, but the rest of the structure is fine. That's one of the reasons why we ended up with revenue share. We were going for a state of good repair for that bridge, but it's not considered structurally deficient. The support beams and the abutments are still fine. So rather than trying to replace the whole bridge, we're just trying to replace the decking.
I kind of like that bridge, actually. I know it seems a little bit silly, but it has a classic look to it for our town. So I like the fact that it was the old decking.
Well, another reason for the concrete, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, was that we have a load restriction on it now, it's 5 tons. And the reason for the metal pan and the concrete would be to increase the strength of the bridge itself. It becomes one with the beams, and so it adds to the strength, and then we wouldn't have, we hope to not have a load rating on the bridge, a load restriction.
Well, since the beams and everything are okay, could you give us the price of replacing the wooden flag deck?
Yeah, I believe that we
Should be
had
cheaper
looked
than
at that.
doing the revenue share.
Joe, do you want to add?
I would just want to say, out of all three of these projects, the bridge one, we could defer long. That to me is not a priority out of these three. I think the most important thing, number one for me, would be North Shenandoah because of the pedestrian incidents. And then North Royal paving just makes sense to be able to get half the money for the paving. But the bridge itself, to me, I think if we wanted to look at other alternatives such as replacing the decking and keeping that old type of feel, we could look into that.
It totally makes sense to me. I wasn't downing on it. I like the classic look. That's all.
Gary?
This will be the 4th time that we've replaced the decking on that bridge. It originally was pavement and metal
I
deck.
replaced it one in about 25 years.
And that bridge is treacherous.
What?
It's treacherous. You can look at the guardrails.
Yeah.
So I'm all for replacing it with concrete and concrete rails, if that's what they're going to do. It's just be a lot safer.
I don't really, I sort of like the wooden planks. I mean, to me, it just seems like it's been there for years.
Yeah.
You know, we used to go up to the old playground and, I don't know. It's just the area, I don't know.
Could we get a price on the deck, for replacing the deck alone?
Yes, sir.
If, you know, several of them want to consider.
I'm supportive of this, so.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whichever way you go.
So a question I had was, it looks like some of these projects might get delayed for several years, right?
Oh, yeah, they could either be next fiscal year or the year after.
Are we able to spend $673,000 and get reimbursed $336? Let's, for sake of argument, if we wanted to move forward on all three of these projects next year, can we get reimbursement after the fact?
No.
Okay.
We could only get reimbursed for a project that started after the fiscal year that it was approved.
Okay. Good.
But I did check on that.
Okay, so what's the pleasure, council? You want to put it on a consent agenda? Or do you have a
Well, what I was
question,
going
Chris?
to ask is, with sheets coming up on Shendor Avenue, the lighting on there, would they be responsible for so much lighting? I mean,
They could be responsible. I don't know what the planning is looking into, but yes, there's probably some obligation on their part for at least that intersection at 17th Street.
Gary?
I just got one more question. Will we be able to reuse the existing lamp poles that are there on Shenandoah? Because they're pretty, not that old.
Oh, yeah.
Will we be able to refurbish them and use them somewhere else?
Yeah, we can use them through subdivisions. Even though they're
Great.
fluted, we normally use solid during subdivisions. But yeah, these will be able to be
Thank you.
utilized.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, put on consent agenda?
Or the next.
Consensus? Everybody good with that?
I mean, the resolution.
The resolution?